The night sky over Washington, D.C. was shattered by a horrifying collision. At approximately 8:47 p.m. on January 29, 2025, an American Eagle flight and a U.S. Army helicopter crashed into the frigid waters of the Potomac River. The incident occurred near Reagan National Airport, sending shockwaves through the nation's capital and beyond. The American Eagle Flight 5342, a Bombardier CRJ-700 operated by PSA Airlines, was en route from Wichita, Kansas to Washington. On board were 60 passengers and 4 crew members, including a group of figure skaters heading to a competition. The U.S. Army helicopter, a UH-60 Black Hawk, was on a routine training exercise with at least 3 soldiers on board. Details remain unclear as to how the 2 aircraft collided in the busy airspace near the airport. The plane was preparing for landing while the helicopter was flying south along a designated corridor. Witness accounts describe a terrifying scene with a loud explosion, a flash of light, Immediately following the crash, a massive rescue and recovery operation swung into action. Hundreds of first responders from multiple agencies rushed to the scene, battling frigid temperatures and the darkness to locate survivors. Boats with powerful searchlights combed the water's surface, while divers braved the icy depths. The challenging conditions hampered the search efforts. The water temperature hovered around a bone-chilling 35 degrees Fahrenheit, making survival in the water unlikely. Floating ice chunks and the swift current added to the difficulty, slowing down the search teams and increasing the risk to the rescuers. Despite their heroic efforts, hope began to dwindle as the night wore on. As of late evening on January 29th, no survivors have been found. Recovery teams have pulled bodies from the water, but authorities have not yet released information about the identities of the deceased. The grim reality of the situation settled over the city as news of the crash spread. The search continued through the night and into the next day, a somber reminder of the human cost of this tragedy. As the nation grappled with the news, the investigation into what caused this catastrophic collision began. The National Transportation Safety Board, or NTSB, took the lead, working alongside the Federal Aviation Administration, or FAA, to piece together the events that led to this disaster. Preliminary reports indicate that the weather conditions at the time of the crash were clear, with good visibility and moderate winds. This raises more questions than answers, as weather does not appear to be a factor in the collision. Investigators will be examining air traffic control recordings, radar data, and the wreckage itself to determine what went wrong. The investigation will likely focus on the actions of both pilots, communication between the aircraft and air traffic control, and the designated flight paths of both the plane and the helicopter. The NTSB will also review maintenance records and any previous incidents involving the aircraft or the pilots involved. This incident has brought renewed scrutiny to air traffic safety, particularly in congested areas like the airspace around Reagan National Airport. There have been several recent close calls at airports across the country, raising concerns about the increasing demands on the aviation system. The ripple effects of this tragedy extend far beyond the nation's capital. The Wichita community, where American Eagle Flight 5342 originated, was devastated by the news. The city is grappling with the loss of so many of their own, including the young athletes who were on their way to pursue their dreams. The figure skating community was also in shock. The loss of promising athletes, coaches, and supporters sent shockwaves through the tight-knit world of competitive skating. Tributes poured in from fellow skaters and coaches, expressing their grief and offering condolences to the families. President Trump issued a statement expressing his condolences to the families of the victims and thanking the first responders for their efforts. D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser echoed these sentiments, calling the crash a heartbreaking tragedy and pledging the city's full support to the families and the investigation. American Airlines, the parent company of American Eagle, has established a hotline for families seeking information about their loved ones. The airline released a statement expressing their deepest sympathies and pledging their full cooperation with the investigation. As the investigation continues, the nation mourns the loss of life and searches for answers in the wake of this devastating event.